Hello everyone and welcome back to today's exciting tutorial. In this session we are focusing on leveraging the power of React and TypeScript to seamlessly fetch and display data from the movie database. So which is this, as you can see, this is widely used movie database online, which is free to use. We can use so much, I would say pretty much everything for free from here. All you need is an API key, so I'll show you how to do that, and then we will create this simple React project using the TypeScript type safety, and we'll see how we can fetch the information from here and we can display it to the user by making an API call. So let's get started and unlock the secret of integrating TMDB data in your React project. So before we dive into the coding, we should get an API key from the TMDB database. So in order to get that, all you have to do is go to www.tmdb.com or you just search TMDB on Google. You will find the link, the first one over there, and then you just go join TMDB. I already have one, so I can just go there and log in. But if you don't have one, you can join this. You have to write a username, password for yourself, and then you will get an email, confirmation email, and then you will have your own account, so which you can just log in later on. And then I will log in my account and show you where we can get the API key. So once you log in or you sign up and then you can log in, this is where you will go. This is the main page, your profile page. That's where the link will bring you, and in here all we have to do is go into the settings. Once you go to the settings, you will see on the left hand side we have some menu here, and all we have to do is go into the API. So this is my API key. I don't really care if you want to use mine or you want to get your own API key, but since my API key is being used in my other tutorials and I got an email from them that there's too many requests that have made, so a free API key can only make limited requests. So if your this API key might not work for you, so I would suggest you to create a new account, but try with it if it works. So you have to copy this, and then we will go ahead and create a React app using the template TypeScript. So now let's open the VS Code, and as you can see I am in no directory. So currently I have opened the VS Code, and let's check where we are in the terminal. So I am in my main disk, so I'm gonna go to desktop, cd desktop, and I'm gonna cd into tutorials. These are the previous tutorials I have. So I'm gonna create a React app here using the template TypeScript, so we can use the TypeScript along with React. So how do you do that? Npx create React -app, and you can name whatever you want to name it. We will name it fetch TMDB data, and then to use the TypeScript in it, we can use template TypeScript. So we'll just wait till the app get installed.
A few moments later.
Alright, that took a while. So now that we have the app installed, we gonna want to check that if we have got the TypeScript installed. So we don't have it here. What we're gonna do is cd fetch TMDB data. Now we are inside the directory. We're gonna do code here. We will open another VS Code, so we are gonna use this one. Now we are inside the directory. We're gonna test it with yarn start, or if you're using npm, you can use npm start. So this is the demo that I've showed you before was on, and now we are gonna see the new app from scratch. So this is how the basic React app looks like. Now let's get into the coding and get rid of everything, so we have a blank page. So let me just go ahead and close this one. So we have these two. Now we're gonna clear up these extra files that we don't need. And let's clean up the extra chunk from the HTML file as well. I'm gonna fast forward this process so we don't waste much time on this. And we can name it TMDB fetching. Same for source folder, we can go to the source folder. We don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. Delete all of that. We need to go into the app.tsx. we need this stuff, so we don't have nothing in here. Same as index.tsx. Now we have a blank app. So what we can do now inside our app.tsx, what I'm gonna do first, we should install the dependency that we're gonna use. So we're gonna use npm install Axios. So Axios is a library which helps you to send HTTP request, so making an API call. It's really straightforward to use and really easy to use. So we will use Axios. Otherwise you can use default fetch function, with that's a built-in JavaScript function, but we will use Axios for this video. So Axios is installed. Next one will be npm install style components. So while the both dependencies are getting here, we can check them. We have got styled components version 6.1.0 and Axios, yes. And now let's go ahead, and I need to copy my API key, which is here. So I'm gonna copy my API key, come back to this, and the first thing I'm gonna declare here is a variable called API key, which will be this as a string. And then we need an endpoint, because right now we don't have an endpoint, so I'm going to use popular endpoint. The thing won't give it to you, you have to search it for on Google for how many endpoints you can search. So I'm searching from the popular movies that are currently popular on the database. So https, so I'm just gonna hard code this api.themovie.org/3/movie/popular. So they are different endpoints like popular, trending. Popular trending is the same thing. You can have the upcoming movies here, this week movies, and all that. So this is for that. So now that we have got the API key and the endpoint set up, the next thing we should do is check that if our API link is working. So in order to do that, we need a use state. But now since we are in TypeScript, so we have to declare an interface on what we will be fetching from that. But first, let's check how we can actually see what information we are expecting from this database. So I'm going to create a use state here. Const movies, set movies, which is use state. So as you can see, as soon as I wrote use state, the IntelliSense also imported it up there. If I control Z it, you can see there's nothing here. Or you can do another way, you can do react.useState, because we are importing React from React. Or you can just do this, use state use state, and we will be using use effect. So actually we'll do it later. Use state, which is this. And now let's see if we can fetch anything from that. For we need a function for that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a function, const fetch data. This will be an arrow function. And now let's import Axios from Axios. And inside this function, we're going to make an API call, axios.get. So we are sending this request. We're going to use template literal, because we are sending the request to an endpoint, which is the popular. because this API key by itself wouldn't do anything. You actually need to tell which link you are sending that HTTP request. We are sending a request to this link using our API key. So this endpoint requires an API key. I'll show you how. So we're gonna pass popular to this, and then we can do API. This is not me hard coding it, this is how it goes, API underscore key, and then you can do this using string literal. We're gonna pass the API key to it, dot then we're gonna get a response from this oh my bad, response, and then we'll store that response in result variable. So response dot data dot results. So now we're gonna see if this results variable holds information that comes from this API endpoint, right? So what we're gonna do is we will call a console.log and pass the result to it. Of any. Okay, what we will do is set const. So that's the function. Why I'm getting this? The value is never read. Okay, the function is okay because my bad. So we're gonna console.log result, and then here we need use effect hook in order to perform that call when the component mounts. So use effect, and then we can pass it fetch data and an empty dependency. So as you can see, the error is gone away. Now let's check in the console if we are getting anything from the endpoint. Oh, looks like not. Oh, there you go. So you can see we have got 20, as you can see on the previous example. So you can see this array is giving me 20 movies, and here's each one of the movie with their own information. So if I expand this array, we have first movie, which is called Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. The second movie is The Equalizer 3. See, I always said second movie, not one, because the array element always start on 0. So we now know sort of information we need. We'll see that only thing we're gonna need is we're gonna need the title, which is the movie name, and we're gonna need release date, and we're gonna need poster path. So 3 things we're gonna fetch from this database. So we can see that the title is a string, poster path is also a string, and where is the release date, which is also a string. So if you want to see fetch a number, I'll fetch ID as well, so as ID as a number, because when we will map through it, so we can do it like that. So now we know what we are expecting. So we are expecting title as a string, poster path as a string, ID as a number. This is for TypeScript, guys. So if you were using JavaScript, you wouldn't have to worry about this. You will just go straight ahead and pass it. You map through it, and then you will print it to the data to the web page, and user can interact with it. But now we will see how we can provide the type safety. And what's the other thing? Date, release date, which will be as a string. So let's declare the interface here for the TypeScript. So this is how you declare an interface, and we will name it movies, and ID we gonna use it as number, title is a string, poster path is a string as well. Make sure you spell it exactly as it is over here. Release date is string. So now we can get rid of the comment. We know what we are fetching, and now we need to provide this TypeScript type safety to our useState function. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell it that this is movies, which is an array because we are dealing with arrays here, so that's also an array. So now what's gonna happen is I can do set const movies, set movies. I don't know why my intelligence is not able to get it, but we're gonna set the result to set movies. So now what happened here is I've set it the results, passed it to the set movies function, and now that set is to this movies. So the movies hold access to all the movies. So now let's go ahead and see how we can print that information to the web page so the user can interact with it. Alright, now let's print the data we are fetching from the API to the web page so the user can see what we are actually getting. In order to do that, now we have information stored into the movies variable, or you can say it's a useState function, and inside this I'm going to open movies. I'm gonna map through the movies since we are dealing with an array, so I'm gonna map through all the elements and print them out onto the page. So movies.map, I will name it movie. Actually I'll name it something else so I don't get confused between movies and movies. Items, and I'm gonna make a class here, name it movie container for later on while I'll style my array. And inside this I'm gonna open h1 for the title and items dot. As you can see, items dot has access to whatever we are fetching here. We are telling the React that we only want these 4 since I have provided the types for just 4 things, and now it has access to them. So I'm going to get title, and if we go back, as you can see, we are getting the titles here. I'm going to refresh the page so we make sure these console warnings are just there. So as you can see, those are gone away, but now we are getting a console warning which says each child in a list should have a unique key. So when we are mapping, we need to provide it a unique key. So when we're using map function, we gotta have a key. So there are 2 ways you can do it. In this case, we're gonna use ID as a key, but in case you don't have a unique ID for each of the array element, you can do this. You can provide it index or name whatever you want, and you can go key index. So if I do that, you can see that warning is gone away, but that's not the right approach in this case. In this case, what we're gonna do is we're not gonna do this. We're gonna use key items dot ID. So that's our unique key in this case. If we refresh, that warning is gone away, and now we have names of the movies. The next things we're gonna want to print is the images itself. So let's go ahead. This is a little bit tricky, so we cannot just simply write img source and inside the source we can just go items dot poster path. So if I do that, as you can see, that doesn't work. It doesn't work like that when we're dealing with TMDB data. So what we have to do is I need to do items dot poster path, and inside this I'm gonna open up an image tag. To the source template literal, I'm gonna provide it the link HTTPS. So this is the endpoint where we are getting the images. So it's a different endpoint. It wouldn't just get the images with the endpoint of popular. So in this case, we're gonna get images image.tmdb original org/t/p/width. So this is the width of your image, so I'm going to provide it 500 for now. And inside the alt, what we can do is we can also pass the template literal, and we can pass the movie title as alt. So if the image is not available, it will show the movie title of that image. So items dot title poster, so the image poster. Now if we go back here and refresh this, okay, we didn't get, so there's something wrong with my link, https://image.tmdb.org.to. okay, so this is P, and if I'm not wrong, is that link is still not right. https, yeah, that's https image.tmdb.org/t/p/w. okay, my bad. So we still need to provide it the items dot poster path. The items dot this should be at the end. Okay, so now it's 100%, it should get the images. So if we refresh, there we go. Now you can see we have images along with the title, and now one more thing we need is the date. So now we're gonna print the date. So for the date, I'm gonna come outside this and I'm gonna open a p tag. Really easy, items dot release date, and now we have a release date below that. As you can see, the width I provided is 500, so we can change that width here to 300, and you can see the image is gone smaller. So you can actually change the width, control the width from the endpoint. So this is how you do it. The next thing we're gonna do is style our app, because this is just all over the place. So we're gonna provide it some flex box and line it properly so it look like a really third class movies app. So in order to style this, I'm not gonna use styled component, which I told you in the beginning to install. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna use plain CSS to wrap things quickly, because I don't want this tutorial to be longer than 30 minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come to the app.css, and over here we have some extra code that we don't need. So I'm gonna open my index.html on one side and close the terminal. So now we can see we have got an CSS styling app here. Let's close this, and now let's go ahead and try to style this. I don't know why I opened the HTML file, it's supposed to be tsx file. So we have got a class app, so I'm gonna, which is the parent of everything. So I'm gonna make it display flex, and I'm also gonna see if it's working. Yes, it's working, you can see that. So display flex, and we're gonna make it wraps, flex wrap. So if you don't know what wrap does, it's basically, you can see that it is going in horizontally. So flex wrap will actually make it come down once it's cover up the whole whole width of the horizontal, I mean the whole width, whichever is available on the horizontal axis. So it's gonna be wrap. So here you go, you can see that it's wrapping, not wrapping, wrap. So I'm gonna close the console to have a look at how it looks like. So the items are still not aligned in the middle, they are still pushed to the left hand side. To bring them into the center, we will align items to center, and we'll check that. No, that didn't work. So we'll check justify content space around. So it will be this, giving it even space. And the align, what align item center did is space vertically, and the justify content space horizontally around it. So now you can see that I don't have a poster available for nowhere, or maybe the title is too big. But yes, actually the title is too big for the first one, so that's why it's doing that, but we'll fix that in a minute. So nowhere is here, down there, so it's not that. So this empty space is because of this title is too long, so I'll fix that as well. So let's move on to the next one, which is the title. So I'm just going to call the h1 because it's just there, and h1 will be text align center. And what else? Let's give it a font family Georgia, so that's working. And now let's do the movie container dot movie container, and the movie container is this container that holds each movie. So we're gonna display flex that as well and see what happens. And flex direction column, so that will back to normal. Okay, no, not yet. And align item to center. Okay, now you can see that it's in the middle. Before it was onto the left hand side. So the next thing we're gonna do is call the h2 movie container inside movie container. So h2 is actually it's h1, so I'm calling that h1 because this h1 is targeting all the h1 inside there. Actually I should just give it h2 because it's confusing, and let's comment out this one for now since I'm targeting it here. So what I'm gonna give h2 is a font family Sans. And now we are gonna fix this. So what we can do is white space is no wrap. And overflow will be hidden. So it's still there, still not there because we need to provide it text emphasis. Is it text? Actually text overflow would be hidden, text overflow would be ellipsis, and text align center. So now watch, when I provide a width it will shrink that. So if I give it a width of 200 pixel, so there you go. Now everything is lined up properly, and this you have a dot dot dot, so that means you got more title on this. You can make a hover effect, but I'm not gonna do that here. So it's looking pretty much clean already. Yeah, so that's done for this one. And now we're gonna make the image, well, you don't really have to make the image smaller because you can just control the image from here rather than controlling it from CSS. I don't know if 200 works. So it doesn't go below, oh it does go below 300. So you can see, so there it is, very simple React plus TypeScript app which fetches movies from the movie database from here, as you can see this one. So these are the movies that we are fetching, and we are displaying them into our page. And you can see that I did not provided any of the images, nothing is hard coded here. All this information you're seeing in front of you is coming from this website, which is, as you can see here, the popular movies. Let's search for popular movies here. If you go on popular, so you can see that it's exactly lined up as we are getting it here. So you can see we go Mission Impossible, second is Equalizer, third is None. So there you go, first one Mission Impossible, Equalizer, None, all of them are like that. So that's where this data is coming from, and now we have implemented that into our React app using TypeScript. And here's the code for that. Look how simple it was, just one page. I did everything in the app.tsx, but we can get rid of this so we don't have extra code. So this is the CSS. Look, with this minimum CSS we have got this is how you fetch the data from TMDB. The next thing you can do is you can implement a search up there, search from the movie database, so you can just search the movies by name. There's a lot you can do with it. So this is just a beginner friendly tutorial, and thank you so much for watching it, guys. And thanks to all those 40 subscribers who have subscribed to my channel. Until next time.